What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figure it out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, kids. It is officially 11 o'clock on Friday afternoon / morning / I'm not really sure what the hell day it is. I wanted to send a huge shout-out before I begin to Mr. Marcel Goyton for absolutely lovely entertainment last night. We missed out on some of you guys being there. It was absolutely amazing as always. Mr. Charles Barber showed up and was in the house, which was even cooler. We had an absolutely wonderful time. Everything worked out really nicely, so thanks so much. I want to bring up a couple notes for next week because I don't think I talked about this. But as far as next week, we are looking at shows. The 18th, we are having what I call the Sex Gal, and she would appreciate that more than I can tell you. There's a lovely author by the name of Antonio Hall that's going to be coming on my show. She has actually written a book that's relative to females having multiple orgasms. I have to tell you that even I am blushing because this is the very first time that I've had a show guest that was speaking of sexuality, so to speak. So that's 2 o'clock Central Standard Time on Tuesday the 18th. The 19th, we are going to be having a secondary author by the name of Darren Sharp E, I believe it is. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me. Check my Facebook page and my Sin Chat Corner page. He is another author of a science fiction novel that we're helping to promote with my dear friend Alexa. So that will be 4 o'clock Central Standard Time on the 19th. Then on the 20th, very first, I must say, very, very first band coming on the show. It's called Answer Infinity. And when I say first band, what I mean is this is probably the most hard rock / metal, if you would call it, band that's going to be coming on my show. So I'm extremely excited about hosting them. Thank you very much to Bridget Henrietta O'Brien for orchestrating that interview, and that's going to be on the 20th at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. I wanted to also throw out a reminder to those folks that are in California. I'm going to be doing the San Diego Horror Film Festival. I'm going to be one of the film judges and or panelists. That's going to happen on Saturday the 29th at San Diego. I'm going to be sending out a formal invitation to all of my filmmaker friends, all of my regular friends in California, and my hope with a lot of crossed fingers is that I get the opportunity to be able to meet a whole bunch of you guys because, as we all know, it's not very often that I get an opportunity to head out to California. So I am very excited to be meeting some new friends, some old friends, etc., as far as that goes. So I'm very, very excited. Today we have one of the most, what they call Hollywood royalty, for lack of a better term. She is Jamie, and the last name is spelled Natella. What's really exciting about this woman is not only, I want to call it, she's a trifecta, so to speak. First off, she is a producer. Second of all, she's an actress. Third of all, she's an author. Fourth of all, she's been featured on every single magazine that you could possibly think of, which is amazing to me. She is literally a powerhouse. And what the other coolest thing about her is she's absolutely beautiful. If you have ever seen a magazine cover of her, if you've ever watched one of her productions, she does commercial work, she does feature and film work. She also has 3 different locations. The name of her company is called Blueyed Pictures. She is located, her solid base, I believe, is in LA. She's also in London and Tokyo. She's produced 11 feature films, and she also does corporate films as well as digital content and commercials. I was actually this morning to spend a little bit of time to check out all the various different features, options, etc., in terms of things she's done. For instance, the Hallmark Channel thing that we'll talk about. She's done some work with Benicio del Toro. There's been a discussion about her being on children's book children's book series. And she also happened to grace the October / November issue of Heroic magazine. In fact, she just sent me a cover literally just the other day, and I apologize for not getting a chance to get that posted up as I should. But it was neat just to take a look at her and to be able to see that picture and to be able to look at all the different work that she's produced and such. And so it's quite the honor to meet somebody who is this established in terms of LA. And she's a younger girl. I mean, she's not somebody who is significantly older or less established, so to speak. I mean, she's done all sorts of different work. One of the events that she's got coming up is in Dubai, actually, which I find rather interesting when I have clients or people that come on the show that have visited foreign countries, things like that. So hopefully with any luck at all, we are just waiting to find out if she apparently we are, apparently it looks like there's some confusion with the telephone number or something like that. So hopefully with any luck at all, she's going to be calling in shortly and we can commence the interview. I'm very excited, like I said, to be hosting her, only because of the fact that it's not very often that I get a chance to talk to somebody who's done both the commercial and the feature film side of things. I mean, that's a dual, or should I say multitask job as far as handling all those different things, and I don't know how she does it. I mean, I have a hard time dealing with radio versus film versus, some of my written work and things like that. So since we have a moment to kill, let's just pump my latest and greatest causes, I should say. Quick reminder that in the coming months before Christmas time, my hope and our expectation is to get both Kerwin's comic book, which is, of course, Sergeant Seizure and Evil Dr. Cuckoo, made into the final form and put into a book. And hopefully, even if we can't get to Comic-Con this year, we can at least get it out onto the market, get it sold, etc. And so the second one, of course, is obviously my calendar. To those of you that have not looked as of yet, if you look on Facebook, Sin's Calendar of Creatives is what it's called. I haven't done a formal website yet because, frankly, I just haven't had time. So, unfortunately, it's just not been on the top of the priority list. Actually finishing it is. Writing it, which is just about done, and getting the pictures taken. And as I've mentioned before, it's a collective of 12 different months of indie filmmakers, regular book reviewers, things like that. So without further ado, it looks like we have Jamie on the line finally. Yay! So let's get the interview started. Hi, Jamie. You found me.
Good morning.
Yay! Hi. I was just going to say good afternoon to me, good morning to you, I should say, because it's about 9 o'clock where you are, right?
It is. It's 9 a.m. and the weather is changing. Fall.
Oh, no. Oh, no. See, and I was so hoping to hear, it's L.A. and it's 90 here right now because I'm coming to L.A. in less than 2 weeks, and I'm excited. I'm like, it's going to be so nice, and now you're killing me. The weather's bad.
But you know what? We have amazing, festivities around this time. So it's nice that you're coming. You'll have tons to do. You have to do the haunted hayride. You have to do the little train with all the Halloween stuff.
Oh, my gosh, that sounds so neat. Okay, now I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop you for just a second. I'm going to ask you to do something. That number you called me in, can you call me right back? There's a whole bunch of static on the line, and I'm afraid the listeners aren't going to be able to hear you. Could you just try to call back into me again, please? Okay, we'll just hang up and try this again.
Okay.
Okay, folks, hopefully with any luck at all, the second time around we get around here, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there's a ton of outside noise there, and I want to make sure that you're going to be able to hear everything that she's saying because we have a bunch of different things that we want to cover, and I don't want to kind of cut her off and have her end up having an interview where nobody can hear her. That would definitely not be a cool thing. So, as you can see already, or as you can hear already, she's just got the cutest little voice. And like I said, I'll post up her picture so you can see what she looks like. She's adorable.
Okay, is that better?
Oh, yes. Now I can hear your beautiful voice. Listen, so hi. Okay, so I'm coming to L.A. Well, I'm coming to San Diego. I'm doing the film festival, the horror film festival. I'm a panelist there. So it'll be L.A./San Diego. I'm doing both.
How fantastic. And it's right around AFM, the American Film Market. So there'll be loads of people here, loads of international distributors.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I don't get to LA very often. I mean, California, you guys in California, some of you kind of scare me a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that. A little scary.
I think
Do you think?
I
mean, you live there. No, that does not surprise me whatsoever. I'm like, oh, my God. You've got tons of different people in film. You've got people in music. And it just seems like the art community in general, you never know what you're going to get when you walk into a room. Definitely. It's a mixed bag. That's all.
Well, the great thing about Los Angeles, I think it's kind of like that anywhere that there is a good music or artist scene. It's definitely a different culture than London or New York. But the great thing about Los Angeles is it's so catered to the entertainment industry that for a producer, someone like me who produces long format or events or features, is that it kind of, in the middle of the night, you can call somebody and have equipment, available and ready for you at 3 a.m., if you need if you need experienced and seasoned crew, we've got the best crew here because everybody works consistently. So there's this, knowledge about, just really buttoned up and together. So that is the advantage of living here, plus the weather,
Oh, definitely. Definitely, without a doubt. I agree.
Yeah. So,
and a lot of people like, Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, fine. Go ahead.
I was saying somebody just recently asked me if you could think of Los Angeles as a product, what would it be? And I said, a camera cell phone, because everybody is all about like getting your best shot here. Like everybody's obsessed with taking pictures here, like whether it's a selfie or capturing that great moment on camera.
Oh my God, how funny is that? I thought that only happened in New York City, because you're in Times Square and all those other places, and they're constantly trying to take shots of each other on a red carpet all the time. So I totally get what you're talking about. Well, let me just say this. First of all, thank you for finally coordinating with me. We've had some trouble with getting both of us on the show, and finally we've nailed down a date and a time, which is so exciting, and there's so many different things to talk about. But first, let me just get this off my chest. I looked at your pictures on various magazine covers, including the most recent one on Heroic Magazine, and I have to say, you're breathtaking. You're very, very good looking.
So nice. Thank you.
It's so honest. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's just, you're breathtaking. Oh, my gosh. You just, perfect skin, perfect face. I'll tell you, kids. I'll put the pictures up. Very, very attractive looking woman, very smart, very business savvy, which I all find very impressive. So we're going to talk about all the various different things. But before I start talking about film and TV and all that good stuff, talk to me a little bit. I was curious about your devotion and your dealings with the Clinton Foundation, because you started as an honorary ambassador in January of 2013. So talk to me about why is this so heart important to you? Why the involvement?
I've always felt the need to kind of, when you reach like a certain place, in your work ethic and sort of your life, for me, it's important for me to kind of absorb in giving back. Like, how can I give back to the community, the environment? And my neighbor was good friends with President Clinton and had a dinner one night at their house. And I was fortunate enough to attend and understand a little bit about what President Clinton's initiatives were and how the foundation works. And that was sort of the introduction to him and the foundation. It was really more another friend of mine and Chelsea Clinton that kind of got me more involved in the organization, and just seeing firsthand sort of their beliefs and what they do, whether it's focusing on environmental issues, natural gas, helping human rights in South Africa or Syria, developing sustainability in different tribal communities so they can survive, whether it's building cleaner water or helping medical issues. In certain areas we take for granted, we have a government that more or less is very supportive. If we need help, we have 911 or we have police or a foundation of people to help us. But in those kind of countries, you can't really, when a little girl is sold at 14 years old to make profit for her family and then sold into, a family that gets raped or doesn't have rights, you can't really start with the government there because the government's all corrupt. So they teach us about what's going on in those countries, and I thought, I really am devoted to human rights. So it really wasn't so much about the foundation. It was more I wanted to be involved with human rights. And so I started getting involved and doing functions and fundraisers and money, and then became friends with, the Clintons and the people who work there. And, it wasn't until Hillary, said that she was going to run that, I started getting more and more involved. I'm a diehard Republican, but in this election, I really do believe that, it's about the candidate and about what they can do, and I'm supporting Hillary in that. And I'm also a huge advocate for women. So I think it's about time we have a women's president, but more so, I really do think she is the qualifying politician,
Well, and I do think because you're on the show, you're probably one of the more ideal persons to ask because, of course, you have had more contact, obviously, and more conferences, et cetera, with the Clintons, let's say, than most of us. And obviously, as you can see, I'm sure we're all aware by watching this debacle, as I put it, of this election coverage and the whole 9 yards. And everything that's going on, if there was a listener right now that was listening in and they're on the fence about which direction they should go in, since you've had a bird's eye view of the Clintons, why don't you tell us what you feel makes her the better candidate? Because there's a lot of mudslinging going on right now.
Oh, wow. Political talk.
I know it's a tough question.
Right.
I know.
It's many things. It's, look, I'm sort of probably not the best person to ask because politically I, am at heart I'm really a Republican. I really believe that the Republican Party is a little bit more conservative. But her approach, I'll talk about her approach and sort of, what she believes. From watching the debates, first, obviously besides her demeanor and her respect and her great public speaking, because that is such a great quality of hers. She really engages people. And, it would be hard to go up against somebody like Trump who, is a little bit hot-tempered, and he is not a politician. So the way that he speaks and the way that he communicates can sometimes be more out of frustration and sometimes come off a little bit wrong, But I do believe in her health care, and I do believe, that, look, the Obamacare might not be 100%, in being perfect, but I do believe that there are people that can take advantage of that, and it is a great opportunity to provide health care with people who can't afford it. And I know somebody who I just talked to a couple months ago that was literally waiting for the day that Obamacare came into effect so that they could go to see a doctor and have health insurance because their employer did not provide that for them. So I do believe that those type of practices that have been put in place for healthcare, it's not going to be perfect. Of course you need to improve upon it. Of course there are things that are going to be worse. But at least, she has a plan for healthcare. I'm not really quite sure what, I believe in Donald's perspective of that. As far as, her education and her women's rights, and supporting women, I'm a true believer in that. I was thinking, God, it's true what Trump said. She never gives up, but at the same time, she has a strong, concern and really into the younger generation, the youth, and the future of our country. And I believe that, looking back, she's probably the most qualified. I mean, she, when there were certain situations abroad about hostage or negotiations, she was the person they called in. She already has the friendships and relationships and understanding of foreign countries and sort of our relationships with them. So I believe that, she definitely has the relationship. She's been given that opportunity. She's been in the White House. She's served, as senator. She's I think she's pretty, as far as Secretary of State, obviously she had to do something correctly, and it takes a lot to run against President Obama and to step down and realize what needed to be done. The fact that she partnered with him and became the Secretary of State and understood the culture and developed those relationships and those needs, it really says a lot about a person's character and respect for them. And besides, she was the former First Lady of the United States, So she's taken positions on many political issues through her public comments and, and voting record. I mean, I just think, she's
Oh, I know. I totally get it. And she's a woman, and she's a woman running against a man in a society that tends to be male-dominated, I think. It's difficult, even in today's society. And that's one of the reasons I asked you, is because typically most people are either hating on Clinton, hating on Trump, and you have a nice universal
I don't hate
version.
Trump. I think he had some valid points, too. But I think as far as, you can tell a lot about a country about who they choose to celebrate as their leader. And his character and the way that he communicates and his temper, he could really, rub somebody possibly the wrong way, and we wouldn't want that in a, as a president, But, I believe that, she honors our treaties with South Korea and Japan, for long-term U.S. policy against nuclear proliferation. She's very, up on that. Obama trusted her judgment, and although I did not vote for Obama, I do think that she is the right person for this. Gotcha. Look, you can also, I don't see Trump putting up his viewpoints on foreign policy or homeland security or war and peace or free trade or immigration. You kind of know exactly what she stands for: energy and oil, gun control. I'm not really quite sure. I'm not sure I agree with his ethics on budget and the economy, or taxes or Social Security. I do believe at least she has a plan that would keep us sustained. And she, her husband, when he was president, did a good job of, building the economy and bringing that back. And I do believe that I agree with her, government reform, I guess you can say.
Sure. No, I get it.
Okay. And I agree with her viewpoint on abortion and family and children. So I just think for me, on the issues, for a political leader, she's very clear on what she wants. And I can't say I really understand that a lot from Donald Trump, although he has, in the debates, for somebody who's not a politician, who just kind of got thrown into this, and it is hard going up into these debates, and somebody who has all this experience, it is nerve-wracking going up against somebody like that. But also, he makes these comments about, when you were in Senate, how come you didn't pass that? Well, come on. There is a legislative, we do go through, certain way we look at things,
Sure. Now, just out of curiosity, I don't want to forget to ask this because you might know this. Is there an opportunity for outside individuals, meaning people outside of LA, for instance, et cetera, if they want to get involved with the Clinton Foundation, are they able to do that? Are there volunteer opportunities, et cetera? Is there a way for them to look into that?
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. Okay, so the Clinton Foundation, first, is a nonprofit corporation, and it's under the Section 501 of the U.S. Tax Code. So, obviously, we all know it was established by, President Bill Clinton, but, Chelsea and Hillary are very much involved. There are many different divisions of the Clinton. There's the Clinton Foundation. There's the Clinton Initiative. There is a younger, generation that basically it's called why am I going blank on it? It's called like the Future Division of the Clinton Foundation, where they take young students and people who are interested in giving back to the community. I mean, I've gone to New York and helped build houses when houses were destroyed with construction workers to put things back. So, I guess they have lots of newsletters and functions that go out everywhere from New York to Chicago to Washington, and you just go to theclintonfoundation.com and, you sign up to be a member, and you will get quarterly newsletters and information daily on what's happening locally in your community of things you can do to get involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Good deal. Okay, so that's the Clinton side of things. Now I'm going to switch over to those of the listening audience that do not know this. Oh, God, no.
There's so much philanthropic work that the Clinton Foundation does. It's kind of hard to pinpoint it, but if you do go to clintonfoundation.org, you'll be able to understand a little bit more about the foundation and what they offer.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's probably the most concise way to do it, I'm sure. And once people get there, they can navigate themselves in terms of what they want. So I appreciate that, though. Thank you.
Yes, and there is a a misunderstanding about the way that Donald Trump presents the Clinton Foundation, and a lot of people do. Just the money raised by the foundation is spent directly on programs and not as grants or other charitable contributions. So that's kind of one of the reasons. And if you do go to their website, you'll see your work, and they actually say get involved on the website. So there is a place that you can get involved, and they list a series of things that are happening, where you can take action, you can join a day of action, you can attend an event, and I just remembered the name of the it's called the 2030 Young Professionals Program. So it's people who are 20 and 30 who are interested, and mainly the younger generation. So hopefully I got that clarified.
Okay. Gotcha.
You got me early in the morning, Sid.
That's okay. You know what? You're really good in the morning.
Yesterday, which was just mind-blowing, and I have lots of mixed emotions about it. I actually went to San Quentin prison yesterday, which is my first time ever going to a prison.
Oh, my gosh.
I still have that sitting in my head, meeting with, people who are on death row and understanding, the rehabilitation process that has been incorporated into that prison, which is just fantastic that our government is really, instead of just throwing people into, a cell, really giving them the opportunity to take ownership of the crime that they committed and understand why they did it and help them heal, because obviously, people don't get raised the same way we do. So I still have that going through my head right now.
Oh, no, you poor dear you. Oh, my gosh. And then I make her come on the radio, and she's like, oh, great. I'll try to make a little
are you kidding? I'm very excited to be a part of it. I'm a huge fan of yours. And,
oh, my gosh. Nobody says that. Not lately.
I am.
Well, except for my buddy
Jimmy. I go
Jimmy.
on your Facebook page, and I was looking at some of your celebrity chats, and I was talking about some of the topics,
Really?
And I'm really impressed. So,
oh, my gosh.
at Sin Celebrity Chats, is what I was looking at.
Oh, my God. Listen to this. Hollywood Royalty just said she was impressed with me. Did you hear that, folks? Oh, my God. And I'm so talking about that Hollywood Royalty thing. So here's Jamie on this magazine, and it says Hollywood Royalty. And I'm like, let's ask that girl, what's it feel like to be Hollywood Royalty, Jamie? What's that like? Because I don't know.
I absolutely don't pay attention to any title. I just feel like myself.
She's like, what? Are they talking about me? Seriously, though, that has to be quite the back
part of that
pattern.
whole magazine is I was going out. I have an 8-year-old little boy, and he loves the butter cake from California Pizza Kitchen. So there's this big newsstand in front of California Pizza Kitchen. He goes, isn't that you on the cover? And I didn't even look, at the newsstand. I go, no, it's probably not me. And someone goes, no, that's you. He goes, Hollywood Royalty. And I was like, Hollywood Royalty? What is he talking about? And I hadn't seen the cover until it came out and was printed like everyone else. So I thought,
oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
Was that weird? Was it weird? I mean, was it an odd feeling?
It is, because you think about so many people who have accomplished so much and so much success. And I just don't think I'm Hollywood Royalty. But it's a nice title to have. And, it definitely stuck on the cover page. But there's so much to accomplish and so many goals and things that I want to do that I don't look at myself like that by any means. So you just got to look at the cover and kind of giggle a little bit. And
take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Sure. No. I understand completely. I do. Okay, I'm going to tell the folks a little bit. To those of you that don't know, obviously, of course, Jamie is located in California. But at one given point in time, she was 90 miles away from me, meaning she was born and raised, I should clarify, but she is a Chicago native. I know that you attended the Chicago Academy of the Arts. So talk to me. That's got to be quite the change, starting off in Chicago, ending up in California. To me, Chicago seems very New Yorkish to me. So I'm thinking to myself, are you still a Chicago girl at heart, or have you kind of done that transformation? Because some transform and you go California.
Chicago girl, always a Chicago girl. I definitely have my Midwestern roots instilled in me, and there's something about Chicago and the community and the values that have been instilled in us from when we were little. Chicagoans stick together. But I did go to a performing arts high school, and the advantage of going to a high school like that, which was kind of like Fame, but we didn't dance on the tables. Instead of gym, we had, African dance, and we studied art history and ballet and performed plays for the public that they could buy tickets to, and we had the theater group Steppenwolf. A lot of the people who started Steppenwolf would come and teach us at our school.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was a fantastic experience, but after graduation, everybody that I went to high school with either moved to Los Angeles or New York to pursue, their career professionally. So I go back home now to visit my family that all still lives there, and most of my friends are here. I feel very fortunate in that aspect that, there's a large group of people from Chicago that people I don't think realize. There's Nina Shamosko and Casey Shamosko and Laura Flynn Boyle and Tom Hodges and Jeremy Piven and John Cusack and Joan Cusack and so So many people.
And I'm going to mention one.
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to mention one. And you're going to. Now, I don't know if you've ever listened to any of my other shows, Jamie, but it's tradition. It's become tradition that everyone that comes on the show gets asked this question. So you're ready for it? This is a really important question.
Oh, no,
now,
nothing can be worse than the political question.
Oh, no. Trust me. This is like the biggest question in this interview is coming right now. And I've been neglecting, actually, my number one fan, Jimmy, just reminded me the other day. He's like, you've been forgetting to ask people. It's a really important question. See, now you said that you're a fan of mine. I'm a huge fan. I have on my top 5 list of people that I have to interview, besides Jamie, who's now made the show, holla, that's down to 4. There's this person, he's an actor, and he actually is a Chicago native. Now, I know you're going to make my day, and I know you're going to say to me, Cindy, I can get you this interview. You're going to do it. I can feel it. So, on my top 5 list, there's this actor, guy by the name of Michael Madsen. I know you're going to say, I got his phone number. I'm going to call him right now. Help me out.
Well, okay.
It's going to happen right now. I can feel it.
It's so funny.
She's going to do it. I know it.
I'm a huge fan of Michael Madsen's.
Yes.
Who wouldn't? Kill Bill, Die Another Day,
right.
Donnie Brasco,
Reservoir Dogs. Mm-hmm.
Reservoir Dogs, which was an all-time classic, amazing movie.
Right. In my living room right now.
Vic, right? Yeah. So, I mean, but I do not know him, but I do know a lot of people who do know him.
Yes.
I'm sure that I can make the connection for you.
My God.
So I might be able to do that for you. I can't guarantee he will, but I definitely know people who are good friends with him. In fact, if I remember correctly, there is he just is filming something right now called Angels Fallen, if I remember.
Okay.
And my girlfriend is the producer of that. So
that's awesome. It is awesome, and I like that. And you know what it is. You know what it's like in this business. I've been trying to get him for over a year, and I'm just stubborn. It's ridiculous. I mean, I have his publicist number. I've approached him a bunch of times. I know somebody who's got him in a film right now. I'm like, you know what? If I wasn't so stubborn, I would just go to him and say, listen, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. Because in my head, like, Michael Madsen's my best friend. You know how Wendy Williams has celebrities in her head? Well, Michael Madsen's in my head. We ride motorcycles. I mean, I'm not like stalking or anything, but I think we're at that point where I'm like, if I don't get him interviewed, if I don't get him in the next couple of months, I'm going to have to give up. You know what I mean? It's been like almost a year and a half.
We'll definitely try for you. I'll reach out.
I appreciate that.
I know that Vince Vaughn, who is also from Chicago, is good friends with Michael Madsen or knows him well. Yeah. So let's see what we can do.
Good character.
For those of you who don't know Vince Vaughn,
And you know what else? I like Vince Vaughn a lot, but then I watched Psycho. And then he scared me a lot. And then I'm like, I don't know if I want to know you. Cause right? Have you seen it?
He's a good actor because, I mean,
look
at that
versatile
yeah. From, like, The Breakup and Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers to that,
Correct. No, I agree with you 100%. I was like, oh, my God, you're a total stalker in the scariest way. But he did it well. I mean, he's a terrific actor. But no. Okay, so good. You passed the test, and I asked you that. And second fact you folks need to know, this is another thing that's really kicked butt about her. Hello, on Instagram, she's in between 2 pictures of my other idol, Marilyn Monroe. Anybody who's down with Marilyn is high on my book. Where did you find those beautiful pictures of Marilyn? Oh, my God, I'm a huge fan of Marilyn.
Wait, tell me again what you're saying, that there are pictures on...
I was on your Instagram. You had taken a picture in between 2 pictures or a collage of Marilyn Monroe. I don't know if you remember that or not. It's on your Instagram.
Okay, so that was a photo shoot that was a photo shoot for a magazine, and I think it was Premiere Magazine. And the house we were shooting in was designed by Mike Palumbo, Palumbo Designs, and he had 2 pictures in the entranceway, the foyer of the house. And the photographer said, I love this haircut. The photographer was Jennifer Odell, and she said, it reminds me so much of Marilyn Monroe. And I said to her, when I was younger, my girlfriend and I, she kind of influenced me to be obsessed with Marilyn Monroe, and I read the A to Z about Marilyn Monroe, and I actually even know the house and where it is in Brentwood, the one with the landscapes that you can see into. She passed away when the ambulance came down. And and she said, well, then we have to do a homage to Marilyn. So she put me in front of those 2 pictures. And it was awesome. Just, you think about this amazing figure who really shook things up at that time. morally, I don't agree that, it was a great thing that she had a president, an affair with a president.
Well,
but,
yeah. No, I get it. But no, I just love that picture.
She was like the sex symbol of that time, and who
Correct.
wouldn't want to relate with that,
No, I totally agree with you 150%.
I mean,
so I was very impressed with that.
Oh, thank you. I always love
Definitely.
playing these dumb blonde characters. And the funny thing, there's, a lot of people who know me, they say to me, you always have the qualities of Marilyn Monroe, of Grace Kelly, but then you kind of come off as Lucille Ball sometimes. You're like the funniest person we've ever met. And so, so I definitely have a big sense of humor about me.
Oh, cool. And that's awesome. And that picture, it turned out so neatly because I looked at all these various different pictures of you because when you're looking on Facebook or you're looking on social media, you only get a glimpse into the real person. And I'm a big believer when I look into someone's eyes, I can see exactly what's in there. I get a sense of that. But you'll hear that at the end of the show because I get to tell everybody what I think of you. That's another really cool part of being on my show. Thank you. Okay, we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to talk a little bit about one of the things that I found interesting about you is, and most people may not know this because my sense of things is that they always recognize you, I should say, either from your actress roles or from Blueyed Pictures. I want to talk about I Am Sam because you are the author of the book I Am Sam, yes? So I want you to talk to the audience about two different things. Give us a general synopsis of the book I Am Sam, and more importantly, what made you want to switch your focus onto being an author and creating this book?
I've been doing the same thing for many, many years, and I think sometimes, if you have a passion for something, you kind of got to follow it. And artistically, I have this little boy who traveled with me all the time to my other offices because I was working in production, and Blueyed Pictures started in Tokyo and then went to London and then went to L.A. And I used to visit those offices quite frequently when he was little. And, for a little boy, you start noticing that you're not in America anymore, and you start noticing, you're obviously in a different culture. And he would ask me these ridiculous questions that to him were not ridiculous, but for me they were very challenging to answer. Like, why do Japanese eat with chopsticks instead of forks? Or, why do they have a king and queen and we have a president? Then when we'd go to London, he would say, why do they drive on the opposite side of the road? Why do they have a double-decker bus and we don't? Why are there monuments everywhere? So as I started to Google and try and simplify my questions so that he, as a 5-year-old or 6-year-old, could relate with that, I thought, I bet there's some kind of book about culture differences for young children. And I went to the library, and there was nothing except travel journals and explaining what activities you could do in those countries and also what places you could visit for kids that age. But at that time, my son was not so interested in where the destination and things to do. He wanted to know why things were the way they were. And there was no books that explained that. So my son's name is Samuel, and so his journey is I Am Sam, and it's a book series, and it starts off with I Am Sam in Tokyo, and then London, and now I'm working on the Los Angeles one. So it's taken me, I've been doing this for almost 2 years, which is just crazy because I thought I'd be done with it by now.
Sure.
But, I have a nice publisher behind me, which is Random House, and I believe that eventually this book series will be made into a reality kind of travel show that teaches kids about different cultures and why things are the way they are.
Yes. Well, and the other question I wanted to ask you about this, because obviously I'm a fellow author. I've done my share of books as well. I only did one children's book. But do you find that doing something like creating a children's book to you is a little less complicated than doing the producer hat or being the actress? Do you find some comfort in doing something a little more simplistic than producing a major movie or a TV series, etc.?
This journey with me writing and working with an illustrator and creating it has been, it doesn't come naturally to me. I think production comes natural to me.
Right.
I'm very savvy with budgets and numbers and knowing what crew to hire and how to execute someone's vision. I'm good at developing what they want. For this project in particular, it was more challenging for me to write, and what I learned after doing focus groups and reading the book to specific audiences, I have read it out loud to children, and I do read it to my son a lot, is I always discover something new that makes me question that I need to kind of go back and revisit. I'll give you an example. I finished the Tokyo and London book, and I was reading it to my son before he went to bed, as you do before we go to sleep. You know, I always have to read to him. And I always look at his expressions and what he understands and what's hard for him. Now, he's 8 now, okay? So, and one of the things that he looked at me and he said, you know, Mommy, you're very funny, and it's not funny. He said, this book series, you need to make it more fun so that I can laugh, too. And that was a big red flag for me. You know, he enjoys reading it, and he's learning that education tool, but he's not wanting to, you know, go and, like, it's not a turn pager for him, and that is because it was missing that element. So that, even though I'm naturally funny and have a witty sense of humor about me, I didn't incorporate that into the book. And I didn't think that he would miss that, but he does because, you know, so, so that's kind of, you know, an example of something that, you know, it comes natural to me when in everyday life, but in actually writing it and as an author, it was challenging for me. So I still think I'm learning as I'm going. So to answer your question, it doesn't come as natural to me.
Gotcha. Now, just out of curiosity, if you had to write yourself as a character, because I'm assuming that you have not written yourself as a character, what would that look like? What would Jamie on film or screen or et cetera look like? How would you present yourself in front of the camera if you wrote yourself as your own character? Does that make sense?
Well, if I had to write myself as my own character, you know,
I'm curious.
You know, I'm a very down-to-earth, simplistic type of person. In fact, you know, my husband has the bigger closet than me. I like simplicity. So I think probably somebody who likes to present themselves as maybe perfect, but on the inner side, not perfect at all. Have a lot of you know, qualities that, you know, are very sensitive, but, you know, funny, and I like to kind of go with the flow.
Sure. Oh,
and,
sure.
I'm very inquisitive. So I think if I had to present myself, I would be, you know, come across as maybe classy and perfect, but on the inside, not so much. So, you know, growing and developing and, you know, being maybe a best friend.
Gotcha. Now, just to let you know, you've probably let at least 25,000, that would be half of my listening audience, down in the last 30 seconds because she did say yes, husband. Because I'm sure half my audience was waiting on pins and needles to hear, why, yes, I'm single and ready to mingle and waiting to find someone in LA.
Actually, I am not legally married. So, but I do call him my husband, and so hopefully that clarifies it. I'm so sorry I dropped off all the callers.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Terrible.
Because, you know, you got to ask that because I'm like, you know what happens? People see certain people come on my show and they're like, hey, you got to find out if they're single. And I'm like, hey, this isn't the dating show. But I always talk about the personal side of things, clearly, because you're a person. You're not just a producer. You're not just a mom. You know, you're a culmination of things, obviously. And let's face it, have you looked at you? Okay, then. See? So half my listening audience is going to be like, I want to get with Jamie because she's awesome, and now you can't, boys. So there you go, which is kind of what I suspected. So tell me something, because I always have to ask this relationship question, probably so because I just, once again, have another broken relationship, and I'm now single again. Yay!
Oh, no. So okay, but that's a good thing, right?
No. Well, let me put it this way. I am very much like you. I have very many irons in the fire, and I'm a mom myself, and so there is a lot that's going on. I won't lie. So career-wise, you know, it's helpful, but yet on the same, you know, I'm 47 years old. I'm more than ready to settle down. It's just finding the right person. And so that kind of leads into my question to you, which is this. I interview lots of people in the entertainment world, and I'm always curious to ask and get their take on, what do you feel strengthens a relationship in times of what I call rhetoric, meaning, you know what the entertainment world is like, the rushing, the hustle, the bustle, the appearances, picture taking, things like that, the mingling. It can be very intense to try to have a relationship in this realm. So I'm curious, what does your partner bring to the table that improves you as a person, makes me get to talk to the awesome person that you are?
Well, gosh, so I have, okay, so Stephen Paul is his name, and Stephen Stephen Paul is the father of my child's name, and the person I've been with for 10 years, and which is kind of a long time in the entertainment industry.
Yes, it is.
I had never really dated someone in the entertainment industry since I lived abroad for a long time. Most of the culture and the people around me were expats or worked in finance or more advertising colleagues. So it is rewarding dating someone who understands my schedule and is very open to production. He does more long format. I was more accustomed to shorter format until recently, until I started producing and line producing features. So I think people give up too easily on their relationships. I think, people ultimately don't change unless something massively goes wrong and it makes you look at either a situation or yourself to try and become a better person. So I do think that people especially in Los Angeles, in the entertainment world, when something isn't going right or frustrating, they give up on their partner. They don't stick by them. It's kind of like, they've had it. And I think staying in it and working through that is a rewarding. Relationships are very hard after, a certain amount of years. You grow together and people do change, because if we didn't change, that would be kind of sad. We're always learning and growing.
Right, correct.
And there are many times where, I think people, especially me, have said, is this the right situation for me? But there are other factors involved. I have a child, and we both understand our busy schedules. So the rewarding thing is that he understands my busy schedule and that he supports my vision and sort of where I want to go and my goals and what I want to do. So he kind of makes me a better person in that way. So that's really nice. He's got really great qualities as well. He's very charismatic and funny, and it's nice that to date somebody. He just produced Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson and Steven Spielberg and Rupert Sanders, and he also did Ghost Rider and Bratz and created the brand Baby Geniuses. So I'm very proud of him for what he's accomplished. He was also one of the youngest playwrights and directors in the Guinness Book of World Records, and who won the I think Cannes Film Festival or many, many, many years ago. So sometimes when I'm stuck in production or kind of don't know how to keep me, him, and my son together, it's nice that we work together and also, discuss, whether it's crew or budgets or an option of a better way to approach something. And I value that opinion of him. The bad thing is that we both travel a lot and we're not always around each other.
Well, right, I imagine so. Not to mention the fact, you notice she didn't let us know, is he cute? I bet he's cute, isn't he? Because God knows you're god-awful good looking. You got beat with the beauty stick, so I'm guessing he's probably not hard on the eyes, is he?
I don't think he's hard on the eyes at all, no. I think
Amen to that.
He's a good-looking man, definitely.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations on that. And that's absolutely amazing. Now, I'm just curious on your child side of the things, because most of us, obviously, of course, I've been the first one to say, oh, my God, if my kids come home and want to be reporters and journalists and authors, I'd be excited. And most of them don't even like what I do. And I'm okay with that. So my question to you is, out of all these chameleon of creativity that you have going on here, what would you want your child to get into? Or are you more of the same sort of vernacular of, oh, my gosh, entertainment can be really rough. Honey, try something else. Have you picked a side yet?
You know, for me, the most important part is that he is happy and just, you know, has a passion for whatever it is he wants to do. Because I think if you don't have that passion and you don't have that spark, no matter what you focus on, eventually you won't be happy doing it. Right now, my son is 6 years old. 8 years old.
Right.
He's 6. 8 years old, so he's in 3rd grade.
Mm-hmm.
And he has, the good thing is that he has been in, 6 movies, and he was the Janie and Jack print boy for 3 years for their campaign, which is it's a store and a campaign called Janie and Jack that's owned by Jim Barret. And he's really been growing up on sets and around the entertainment industry, where Stephen is from New York, I'm from Chicago, and even though we grew up in it, it wasn't as catered and in our environment as it is in Los Angeles. So
got it.
Right now, he's fortunate enough that he's had that experience to be around it. And, you know, it's not his priority. He really, I'm very proud of him. He is a straight-A student, and he just joined the student council. So he's very into govern and how things work. And he says to me he either wants to be a businessman or a soccer player. He just joined the FCLA Soccer League, and it is fantastic. Just a fantastic league and organization that for kids who really want to take soccer to another level and possibly be a professional soccer player. He plays 4 hours a day. He plays leagues and different games. There goes all the birthday parties and a lot of the fun on the weekend, but he really wants to play. So it's either soccer player, professional businessman, or something, you know, that has to do with government. But as you said, you know, Mommy, if it doesn't work out, I always have acting.
Oh, listen to that. And he's always Mommy's little boy, obviously. So he'll be like Mr. Hollywood royalty, like the Prince of Hollywood royalty. Doesn't that sound neat? Let's do that. We're just going to use that term from now on. I love it. Okay. Now that we've talked about you on the personal side, we'll talk about the professional side of things. I want everybody to listen to this right now, and I know this will probably make her blush. I was going to list off and when I say slew, I'm not joking, of the various bronze and silver awards she's won, but I'd get too tired. Literally, the list is that long. So what does that tell you? That tells you that she's accomplished enough to be able to get award after award after award for the work she does. And I do believe, because I have witnessed some of the work that she's done before, she is deserving of every single one of those awards that she has received to this point in time because of the level and the marquee of work that's done, and she puts her heart and soul into it. And that's evidenced by some of these different awards she's received. She's been featured, as we just talked about, in the October-November issue of Heroic Magazine. She's been in Manhattan Magazine, Rogue Cinema, LATF Magazine, Fine Success Magazine, and again, the list goes on and on and on and on as far as that goes. So I want to switch gears a little bit to talk about something. I know that you're also a member of SAG, the Producers Guild, and, of course, the Young Presidents Organization. So on the SAG side of things, I want to talk about this a little bit to those people that listen in that are not actors or part of a union, et cetera. I have a good deal of friends of mine that are SAG actors like yourself. And some of them lately have been coming to me and saying it's kind of a double-edged sword to be a SAG union actress right now. So in your opinion, because I know you just did a film last in 2014, so it's been a few years, it doesn't look like the acting side of things has been as prevalent. But talk to us a little bit about how being unionized, has it made your journey better, or has there been a downside being unionized? I just want to get your take on that, because there's tons of people that listen to the show that are looking at becoming an actress or getting into film or TV. So I think it might be helpful.
Well, there are many different factors about being in a union. And I have a different perspective coming from an actor, and then a different perspective coming as a producer. So I think as an actor, it is one of the strongest organizations for health benefits and pension planning and maintaining a certain level of culture and expertise within what you do for a living. So, and there aren't that many organizations like that. The Producers Guild is a newer organization, and it's getting stronger and stronger in supporting the producers. But SAG has been around for many years, and it is a very strong and powerful organization that offers some great advantages to talent. For example, they have Film Society, where if you are not working as an actor or you are financially burdened, they offer, movies that you can go to through the Guild and see these movies for free. And that is, one of the great, things that this labor union offers. But given that it was created in 1933, there are many SAG members. There's over 160,000 actors and announcers and broadcasters and journalists and dancers and DJs and news writers, news editors, program hosts, puppeteers, singers, stunt performers, voiceover artists, recording artists. So many people fall into that union. So I'm just going to talk about actors for a moment. That as a producer coming and interviewing people in a casting, most of the time I know within 10 seconds of an actor walking into the room whether they are what my client or my director is looking for. And the great advantage of being a professional actor is that you've had the opportunity, at least with the Guild, to work on many unionized sets, which creates a certain culture, creates a certain work ethic. So that I look to for professional and just the knowledge that an actor can just switch off and on very quickly like that. But as far as me as a producer, I always look at where I'm shooting, for commercials, for example, where the buyout is. If I'm shooting long format as far as a film, what that state offers, what my budget is. If I can afford to bring, A-list talent or talent that needs more mature, and attention to the project. So I think every, labor union has its advantages and disadvantages. But obviously I try to work with the best. As you do, you try to get somebody that is just right for the role that you're casting. And to me, it doesn't matter if you're an actor in Screen Actors Guild or not. It's really about the talent and if you're right for the part.
Correct. No, I would agree with you 100%. And just to mention to you guys,
now, unfortunately, I don't always get the opportunity to cast the people I want because my budget might not be there. But
no,
I try to do an ensemble of talents as best as I can.
Yeah. No, definitely. Now, some of the roles I just want to mention you have done in terms of the Actress Lives. 2014 was a Magic Christmas, I should say. You were on Love and War, and this one I found rather interesting because it was so ironic. Now, back in 1990, she had been on Doogie Howser. So what I found interesting about this was I just saw Mr. Doogie Howser on American Horror Story chopping up a bunch of people, and I'm like, I guess he's not so Doogie Howser anymore. Because Neil Patrick Harris has gotten along.
When he was what? 14, 15?
I know.
Obviously, he was just a kid, so he's grown.
I know. He is so grown, and his talent has grown, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I think oftentimes people look at him and they think singing, dancing, or Doogie Howser. But he's really expanded his repertoire, I have to say, as far as that goes. So my one question on the actor side of things should be relatively obvious, which is now that your menu of different offerings, so to speak, from a resume standpoint is increased, is it likely that you will decrease on the actress roles, or are you still kind of thinking, you know what, I want to get back in front of that camera still?
No, one of the reasons that I really enjoy being behind the camera is there is a certain, I don't have the passion to be in front of the camera, and not just, with learning lines and becoming, different people and evaluating different parts of yourself to fulfill a role. I think for me, there's a certain lifestyle and culture that goes around with being an artistic, creative person like that. And I flip in and out. I don't think I can do it full time it's not who I am. I don't like a lot of attention drawn on me, believe it or not. And I think that being in front of the camera, you are open. You are opening a lot of doors to people around you, and you don't really have much privacy. Now, you could also say that in a producer standpoint, but it's a little bit more private. But for me, I like putting things together. I like, fixing problems and trying to understand how to create something. I really like listening to what people's vision is and trying to execute that and create that. And I think, when I was on, Doogie Howser, we, granted this was, around 90, 91, we were filming on the 20th Century Fox lot, and they were doing Die Hard behind us, Century City.
Yeah.
And they were, blowing up towers and, I mean, that was in 1988, actually, is when it came out, but I just remember them creating all the different, Nakamori towers and blowing things up, and I was like, how are they doing that? How are they creating that? And so, working at a studio, you get to see within downtime of changing lighting and actor setup, and there is a lot of downtime in between takes. I started to realize that maybe I kind of liked what everyone else was doing, putting things together instead of being in front.
Makes
so
perfect
I really
sense
think
to me,
that's kind of where my loyalty lies and who I am as a person. And I was happy that at a young age I realized that maybe acting wasn't for me.
No, I understand completely. I do. To those that are listening in right now, she is the CEO of Blueyed Pictures, and as we had started talking before, it's a variety of different things. We're talking digital content, we're talking commercials, corporate feature films, etc. As I started off before you were on air, again, reiterating the 3 locations, LA, London, and Tokyo. I'm curious to ask about that. What was the pushing, or I should say, why London and Tokyo?
Okay, so Tokyo, before I moved there, I obviously worked at various production companies, and I worked at a studio and developed some really nice relationships with crew and talent. And I had been offered an interview to go out to Tokyo to produce a TV show there called Tea Time, and it's still on the air. It's their longest-running talk show. If you had to compare it to something, it's kind of like The View here now.
Oh.
But it's just kind of a way to educate people, the Japanese community specifically, about Western ways of production and culture. So you could have anyone from a famous golf designer to a famous scientist to, a Fortune 500 person like Richard Branson on the show. And you, so living there and producing, I obviously went out for a job interview thinking, wow, free trip to Tokyo, and ended up staying there for 7 years. And while I was there, I felt that there was a need for multilingual crews and a Western way of production, a certain education that the Japanese didn't have. And a lot of my friends would call and say, can you help me pull a permit? Can you help me with the budget? Can you speak the language? Can you do this? And I thought, there's a business model here. Why not start a service company? And that's what I did. While I was there, to be honest, I had no desire to open a London office, and I hadn't had much success until I started this company there. And I was dating a British gentleman, and he got transferred to London, so I decided to follow him to London, and obviously I couldn't close that office, so I kept that one open, and that was the reason for my London office.
Now that makes perfect sense to me, because I looked at this and I thought to myself, okay, well, that's a little different, but whatever. Okay, I want to talk about some of the accomplishments of Blueyed Productions. Now, one of the things that I notated that I should bring up is obviously a lot of your commercial work. She's done work in the past with Nestle, Mountain Dew, McDonald's. The one thing that I'm so going to show the kids when they get home, because they didn't get a chance to see it, they went by their dad, but you've worked with Xbox Connect, and I'm like, oh my God, the Star Wars Girly Vader thing, they're going to die when they see this. It was amazing. She's got the Star Wars duel and the Girly Vader thing. But let me just say, hello, Mrs. I'm going to work with Nordstrom. You've been where Carrie Bradshaw and I have wanted to be forever, which is she got to work with Mr. Big. I'm so jealous. I can't stand it because they call me the Carrie Bradshaw of Wisconsin, and I'm like, oh my God, she got a Mr. Big. How do you get Mr. Big? Because I met him on accident.
That director was Anthony Pitramonico, and he's a new director, and he actually had the relationship, and Chris North, I believe, had a deal with Nordstrom, so that's kind of how that all came about.
I gotcha, because I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, I was in New York. I literally almost walked right into him. I wasn't paying attention. I was in Soho, and I'm walking around. All of a sudden I look up and I'm like, oh, my God, could it be? And then at that time that I recognized it and realized it, he was gone. And I'm like, oh, my God, that was my Mr. Big moment. So, yeah, she's done the commercial at Nordstrom, Mr. Big. Jealous. Okay, let's talk about more jealousy. You worked with Benicio del Toro, yes?
Yes, I did when I was younger, yes. In fact,
jealous.
I produced a short film for him called Submission, and he directed and produced that. So as far as working with him as an actor, I really haven't, but as a producer and director, I have.
Right.
And,
because I get the sense he scares me. I'm not going to lie. That's another one. I'm like, look at him. The guy looks a little scary to me. I'm so not Hollywood. I could never be a director.
And just such a lovely person that,
really?
Any kind of, any chance you get to work with somebody who's talented and genuine and nice, you take that opportunity, so.
Oh, of course. That goes without saying. Sure, certainly. So this leads to the obvious question, because if anybody was not, let's say that they were interviewing you that wasn't me, I'm sure what's resonating through their head is kind of this one big question, which is when you start working with some of the bigger names, how do you keep yourself grounded? Because we all have that celebrity star moment. I still do. I mean, before I get on here with anybody, I still get nervous. It doesn't matter how high up on the food chain they are, so to speak. How do you maintain a level of professionalism without getting the pearly white syndrome, as I call it, which is the gleaming smile and the, oh, my God, you're like Tom Hanks to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because everybody gets that glamour thing going. How do you keep yourself at bay? Is it just then because you've been in the business for so long, or was it a transition getting used to that?
It's funny. I don't get starstruck at all. They're just people like you and I. I think I get excited about people's character and the way that they speak, and like if they influence me with their intelligence, like that is a massive turnout to me. There's only a few times where I've actually been speechless and haven't been able to communicate with people. But as far as, for me, I'm looking at it more like a job. Okay, they're on set. Let's get this done. We've got this scene we got to get out of the way. How are we going to set them up? How are the actors relating with each other? Is there communication? Are they being nice on set and not making it challenging, which many actors are so supportive. How can we make them feel good? So it's more of a job and how I approach people. I don't think I look at I don't think I look at it like that. They're just people. I really don't get starstruck, maybe because I've grown up with entertainment around me, and I live in Los Angeles where I can be walking down the street and then, all of a sudden, see a celebrity. I don't really think anything of it.
And that's what I mean, because most of the time the people that listen to my show are listening in, they haven't had the benefit of being on a red carpet or meeting other people, in this realm and things like that, obviously. I am going to ask you, though, obviously, if there was one actor or actress that you would die to produce in a movie or a series, who would it be and why? Gotta ask.
I am a big fan of Cate Blanchett. I really, I think first I think she's stunning. Even though she's an Australian actress, and I probably should be promoting someone who's American. Us Americans are suckers for accents anyway, right?
I know.
I am just in awe of her talent. I think she is called classic beauty. Her range is something that I admire. She doesn't do as much philanthropy work that I'm aware of, that I know, but as an actor and somebody who I respect, I remember seeing her in Elizabeth and the Golden Age, and her playing Queen Elizabeth was just incredible. And then years later, seeing her play Katharine Hepburn and switch to, a role as in Carol or The Hobbit or even, Blue Jasmine. You look at roles like that, and she's so natural, and the emotions that come off of her face are just incredible. So she'd probably be at the top of my list, as far as a female actress.
No, I'm surprised. I would have pegged you for Helen Mirren, because I dig
That's
Helen Mirren.
really funny you said that,
possible.
because I'm not so familiar with her work. She's sort of a new actress to me, and that I'm familiar with, a little bit about the movies that she has coming up, just because of all the press around it.
Right.
But she's classy and beautiful, and I'm just sort of getting into who she is.
Neat.
She's French. Isn't she French? She's originally from France.
Yeah, I want to say that she is. And what I like about her is I often read material quotes, things that she has said about herself, about the art of art, and about her journey of herself. And she's very grounded, and she's more kind of like, F you if you don't like me. I am who I am. I know who I am. I've established myself. It doesn't hurt that she has tattoos, because I'm a girl that's all about tattoos. You got a tattoo, I'm very happy with you. But, I mean, she's very classy in her self-acceptance and an acceptance of her art. And that's what I admire about her. And I would have pegged you for somebody like that, but you'll see. She's an extremely, like yourself in some ways, chameleon of creativity. That's what I call those people, the ones that are dual purpose, dual roles, and dual passions, so to speak, obviously. So it's interesting. I like that. And I do like Cate Blanchett quite a bit, actually. So there you go. Let's make a deal. Just get me Michael Madsen, and I could work on getting you Cate Blanchett, because I do know somebody with a link to 2 or 3 different people, and Cate Blanchett is one of them. So,
well, I definitely, I'm a fan of hers, and I do actually, just recently, I'm getting into Marianne, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, Cotillard.
That's okay.
The one who's in Allied.
Oh,
Allied.
Yes, and I got to tell you something, I feel so bad for that girl, because the whole Brangelina thing, and then, of course, the whole press situation coming down on her being Brad Pitt's so-called lover, blah, blah, blah. She's tremendous. I saw her in a role, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'm dying to see the new Brad Pitt movie with her. It looks extraordinary. The whole spy thing, it just looks amazing. She also is terrific. I think that her dialect is difficult sometimes. Sometimes it's hard when I listen to her acting. It's tough to understand her phonetically, but I think she's an amazing actress as well, to tell you the truth. Now, speaking of actors and actresses, we need to talk about this. You served as executive producer for the new Hallmark channel, that's the JL Ranch, and just so you folks know, we've got John Voight, James Caan, Melanie Griffith, and Terry Polo. This is ironic because just the other night I was watching The Godfather. Guess who popped up in that movie? Hello, James Caan, another one of my fantasy people in the world.
What a legend, right?
Right? And you know what's funny about him? James Caan is not the hottie. You know what I'm talking about? But he reminds me of a legendary sort of, not Cary Grant, but like a Clark Gable. Do you know what I mean? He kind of reminds me of a today Clark Gable. He's lived a great end life. He's had all these various roles. He's worked with all these just legendary people. That must be awesome to have worked with those guys. Tell us about the experience, and also tell us a little bit about the backdropper for JL Ranch. I just saw the teaser promo, and it looks really interesting. It looks exciting, and it's on now, right? Because didn't it launch in August?
Yes, Sony is distributing it for distribution, and it was launched through the Hallmark channel.
Okay.
And actually, I noticed my credit is actually wrong on IMDb. I actually executive produced that, not co-produced it.
Okay.
So working with James Caan, he's just, he's such an enigmatic actor. He's just, incredible. He was easy to work with, really professional. I remember we were filming in Kentucky, and the conditions were very cold and muddy. And the thing with Kentucky weather is it gets very cold and then switches seasons to very hot. And
got it.
Like within a day, you'll have like snow, in one scene, and then the next day we would be filming and the snow would be gone and it would all be green. So my biggest fear was like matching everything in an editorial.
Oh, right,
post.
right.
So I was like, but seeing him, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, he was in The Godfather. He was in Misery.
Right.
But I didn't get, I don't get starstruck, but I always think there is a significant difference between a magnitude of an actor like that and some of the other actors that we were working with, and just seeing how he approaches things. But he is, a little bit older. So, you got to take that in consideration too. But just his professionalism, just a great guy. There was one point where he had to ride a horse, and I remember it was at the end of the day of shooting, and he was sitting on that horse, and I snapped a picture of him, and I said, I don't know. I said, for some reason, you just reminded me of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid riding off into the sunset. And he just laughed, But
That's
what
amazing.
I mean, come on, he had 18 nominations, I think, and he was nominated for an Oscar as well. So.
And you work with Stephen King, which is amazing, and Kathy Bates, of course, because that to me is still one of my favorite Stephen King movies. I watch that all the time, obviously, because Kathy Bates is just phenomenal, clearly. And Jon Voight, when you throw in somebody like Jon Voight, who's been around, oh my God, he's been in I can't even name, as you know, the amount of movies that he's been in. Melanie Griffith has always been one of those interesting characters to me, because I've seen her. I just watched her in Working Girl the other day, and I'm like, look at how she has progressed over the course of time, from movie to movie to production to production. And, of course, Terry Polo. I mean, and my kids are big fans of hers, Meet the Parents. So I was like, oh, my gosh, how awesome. So that's a nice array of talent put together. The Hallmark Channel, I want to say personally, I think, accentuates on these huggy, kissy, touchy-feely stories, I call them. And I like that. They're family-oriented. You're not going to get a lot of violence. You're not going to get a lot of that stuff that you might get off of cable. So kudos for the Hallmark Channel doing something like this. If people are going to want to watch this or tune into this, how do they do so? How do they get connected with this production? It's called JL Ranch, by the way, in case I didn't mention that.
It's called JL Family Ranch, actually.
I'm sorry.
The name. No. For a long time it was JL Ranch, and then we changed, Hallmark changed it to JL Family Ranch.
Got it.
They will replay it on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. You can also download it on their website. You can also, see it. It's distributed by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment, so it will be released on Sony Pictures. And the good news is that we are also doing a JL Family Ranch too. So the saga continues. So it'll be.
Oh my gosh!
It will be really excited about that, and I'll be involved in that.
Okay.
So, please keep your eyes. But everything you can see on HallmarkMoviesAndMysteries.com. They have a listing of all their movies and shows, and you can download it. And I think that's kind of the way things are going right now. But other than that, Sony distribution.
Got it. Okay, and do we have any, so you have no idea that it's just upcoming in the future. So this way, when you start filming that jail one, you could just call Cindy up, and I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm just in L.A. right now, or wherever you are, and let me just sneak over there and watch you, be a producer.
We'll do better. We'll have you come down to set. How does that sound? As long as you can be present where we are filming, you're more than welcome to come to set.
God. You absolutely rock. You'll just have to keep me in the loop on that one as far as that goes. And, I've done that before. I'm very lucky, and that's going to be my next question to you. To those people that listen into my show all the time, and Jamie, you might not know this, I'm kind of on the flip side of you, which is most of the films that I either work with people on or I review or I screen, or in my world now, I do a lot of work with independent film festivals and producers and directors. Have you, and I researched you, but I couldn't find if you've ever done work in the independent circuit, or would you consider doing an indie film? Is that something that's on your docket maybe?
Very much on my docket. I am a very, I produce the movies that I know will make money back or are commercial value. Because that was my entrance into long format. However, I'm a Sundance girl. So I love everything independent. I like the artsy, the grit of some of the scripts that I read, but unfortunately those sometimes are not the projects that get funded and make money.
Right.
Sometimes you can look at a movie that's nominated for an award, and to me it's not about the award, it's about the material. So if I had to go down a route and was given a choice, I would definitely support more independent. I'm a big Spirit Award, person who likes to get involved with that award show, and really Sundance and South by Southwest. I like those film markets of new filmmakers. I think there's a lot of talent out there. So,
I agree with
to answer your question, I would like to be more and more involved in Sundance. I get to see sometimes a lot of the projects that are there. I go every year in January.
Nice.
And big supporter of independent directors and producers and artists.
And people give me a lot of feedback about Sundance. I haven't got to the point where I've gone. I would like to say I'm going to go to Tribeca this year. That's like one of the bigger I'm just here, obviously. My second home is New York City, so to go to Tribeca for me would be a big thing. Sundance, of course, any platform that offers the independent sort of things. I don't want to forget to ask this question because this is important. Oftentimes people listen to my show and they are in advertising, marketing, etc. You do a lot of commercial work, so it's logical for me to ask this question. In today's society, because we live in such a social media type world, what are the three components that you could tell me that should go into a commercial that you know for certain will catch the eye of 90% of your audience?
Okay, so in social media or a live broadcast? Or
no, I mean like let's say, like for instance, I'll give you a good hypothetical. We all, or most people, will watch the Super Bowl. And obviously we know that that's one of the number one days all year round where those commercials, the specialty commercials come out.
Well, they
and why?
garner the
Because you have
largest
such a large
audience
audience.
because you have the viewers, yeah.
Right, correct. So let's do an average ordinary day, and here's Jamie, and she's creating this commercial for Lexus, let's say, for instance. What do you feel is going to make even a person who knows nothing about Lexus want to watch your commercial? What three things need to be in that commercial to catch the eye, to catch the attention, and the interest of another person, in your experience?
Well, first you got to have a great product that you're selling. That always helps. I'm a big Nike fan and I'm a big Apple fan, so those products alone kind of intrigue me. But great creative. Really great creative. There are some really talented creative directors and art directors and copywriters who create such incredible work. And that, to me, is a big part of the execution of the commercial. You sometimes have really bad creative, and I think that bad creative comes from clients not trusting their team. There are many factors that go into doing the research of the development of the creative of a commercial, from focus groups to what the client's needs are. And I think sometimes when clients get sometimes too involved and I do think it's a collaborative effort, but I think sometimes that trust to know that the creative director and copywriter and art director are going to deliver that creative and the production team that they choose. So the three things I would say is great creative. I like humor a lot in commercials, something that stands out. So for me, humor, great creative, and also the airtime, being able to put money into, buying either airtime or, ad space so that people actually get a chance to see it. They promote it properly.
Makes perfect sense.
I remember Whoopi Goldberg a couple of years back. Nicole Purcell, who is the president of the Clio's Foundation, she runs the Clio's, and it's kind of like our awards that we give for best commercials of the year. And every year they do this beautiful award show in New York, and Nicole does a beautiful job. But many years back, there was Whoopi Goldberg was one of the presenters, and I just remember her always saying, you guys made me buy a Fiat. You actually made me go out there and buy a Fiat. And I think that just says it all. Somebody who was a celebrity saw a commercial that was great creative, and the product might not have been absolutely fantastic, but she believed it enough to go out there and buy it.
Oh, my gosh. Look at that. See, and that's a testament right there.
Our history.
No, and I agree with you, definitely, because I always get excited when somebody will listen to my show and they're like, oh, I heard your review, or if I write a review of a book or a movie, and they're like, now you made me want to go see the movie, or now you made me want to go read the book. And I'm like, that's kind of what it's all about as far as that goes. So on the flip side of the fence, before we talk about your upcoming events that you have going on, tell me, we'll do the flip side, which is, of course, obviously you do feature film. So outside of what most people would consider obvious, which is star power, because, of course, obviously some people go to see the stars in essence, what else do you feel is the spice and sugar when it comes to making a good film? What else needs to be there besides the star power, if that even needs to be there per se?
You know, I don't even think films are based on star power anymore because you just don't know if a star is going to bring in those numbers anymore. So it's kind of hard to base your creative on, you know, the cast that you create or the namesake. At least that's my opinion. I'm sure distributors would probably feel better, you know, different about that, but they know certain celebrities can sell abroad or in different territories. For me, just having a great director who can execute and work well with talent. There's a lot of different factors that go into long format. You know, with the work ethic for shorter format, you get to prepare a little bit more, and there are a lot of pre-production meetings and talks about shots and things drawn out, and it's almost fanatic, you know. So by the time you actually get to production on a commercial, you already know what you're shooting. With features, it happens much too quickly. Things change. You kind of got to go with it and run and gun a lot of stuff and be adaptable to make certain decisions very quickly. So there's a lot of different, it depends on the weather, where we're filming, you know, the talent involved. It's more of an ensemble collaboration. And I just don't know until you see the footage and you start creating that story. There are many times where I've read a script and then you get into post-production and the story changes completely. We're sitting there piecing together and rebuilding a story because maybe it didn't work the way we shot it or executed it.
Gotcha.
You know, or, you know, you could have something that a heavy-driven visual effects scene or graphic scene that just might change the entire way that we communicate with the actors in that scene. So to answer your question, they're totally two different dynamics, and you just got to be able to adapt with it.
Excellent. So now that brings us to some of the things she's got upcoming, like her real world isn't like fabulous every single day. So get this. The two things I want to talk about is, first of all, as I mentioned before you got on air, you are going to be doing the World Trade Fair in Dubai. Now, Dubai is a very interesting part of the world that I've never been to. So just tell us a little bit about how you got orchestrated with doing something like this.
You know, I went for well, I've been to Dubai a couple of times, and it's always this sort of unknown to me. It's such a great place in the Middle East that out of all the places in the Middle East, it's kind of forward-thinking with the way that they approach, you know, production and really trying to be more of a similar lifestyle, if you would, even though it's a Muslim country, more, you know, the way that Americans live life there. It's very open to the Western culture and for business. You know, they've really built it up in a short period of time with, you know, economy and filming. And I went there originally for a convention, and one of the people at the convention said, you know, you should really sort of meet the people from the World Fair trade, you know, that's going to be happening in 2020. They have some interesting, you know, events, and you might want to get involved as a production company and be representative of the American people. And I thought, okay, I don't really know how to do that. And it just so happens that the person that I was communicating with also happened to be friends with the Obama family and people in the White House, and you know, and they basically put in a good word for me. And the next thing I know, I was pitching the committee of the World Fair Trade Center. So it just, you know, I guess being in the right place at the right time and being open to such a fantastic, I didn't really know much about the World Fair. Do you know about the World Fair?
No, actually, and that's why I guess I wanted to ask you about it, because of my lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I don't know much of anything, to be honest with you.
Well, it's a oops, the people next door are doing construction. That kind of scared me. Something just fell.
Are you okay?
No. It was just a loud boom outside. So the World Fair, or the Exposition, World Exposition, it's sometimes called the Expo for short, is it's basically a public exhibition. And it started in 1928, from what I was told. And basically, it serves as sort of like an international sanctioning body for wool, like the World Fair, if you would. It kind of educates. It's been held in Crystal Palace in London. It's been at the Great Exhibition. It's often called Prince Albert and Queen Victoria's husband are usually considered to be the first international people for products. And what it is it's kind of this fair that, how do I explain it? It brings innovative and new ideas to the community. So it's this huge fair that kind of offers all different. It could be the most advancement in science or technology. It could be, the best in digital content. It could be how to, create something, that they want to promote for the future. All different types of exhibits, from culture exchange to branding to science, all these different things. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
No. You are making sense. I'm totally following you. Yeah, like I said, I had no idea, never even heard of this before, and I thought, all right, I'm going to ask her about this because she's got to know, obviously. And I don't want to lose focus on the other thing too. Now you're going to be
Dubai is registering. Dubai is going to be doing the World Trade Fair Expo in 2020. So there's lots of events that will go along with the exhibits that are being featured in the convention center of where they're having it. So me as a production company, I'll probably be involved in doing some of the events, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's my presumption, definitely, without a doubt. And the other thing you had mentioned to me, of course, had the name of the Grammys on it. So talk to me about that if you can. That's an
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. You're very faded, Sin, so I'm not hearing what you're asking.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, that's weird, and I'm in my kitchen, so normally I don't have that problem. The other thing I wanted to mention about for the upcoming roster that you have is you're doing some work with the Grammys. Is that not correct?
I am, but it's more through the Young Presidents Organization. I'm working with some people on doing sort of a pre-gala event for members of the Young Presidents Organization. So I'm not actually doing anything with Clive Davis or the Grammy Foundation.
Got it.
I'm working alongside with them to produce an event for YPO alongside the Grammys.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. So I guess before we go to the business side of things, letting everybody know how to get a hold of you and find you, etc., if I were to ask Jamie 1 year from now, where are we going to find you? Where are you going to be at in your life, personally and professionally? What are your goals for the next year? What would that be? What would that look like?
My next, my goal is to finish the book series I Am Sam.
Right.
And I'd really like to get that out there. I'm starting a couple new business ventures that have nothing to do with entertainment, which I'm excited about, which I don't feel comfortable enough talking because I'm still in that development stage of discovery. But but I am. One of them has to do with water and sustainability, and the other one is a mixture of a whole bunch of things with my business partner.
Oh my gosh! Look at that! How exciting! That's amazing.
Yeah,
does that mean you're going to be
hopefully
married?
You'll be seeing JL Family Ranch 2 and many other.
Yes.
I am executive producing 2 movies right now, which you'll be looking forward to seeing next year. They're already in production.
Oh my gosh,
one of them we just wrapped, and the next one we're starting, I believe, next week. So that's exciting.
Oh, nice. That is very exciting, definitely. Are you going to be a married woman?
I don't know about that.
I guess I'd have to take that up with the mister, wouldn't I?
Yeah, I have a hard time with that word.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, we don't even have to go there. That's fine.
No. I think every girl looks to be in a serious and committed relationship and a supportive and healthy one. And, to me, that just means the most. So.
Correct. No, I agree with you as far as that goes. Oh, yeah, and hey, before I forgot, because I've been trying to figure this out, I thought to myself all morning long, if I could picture what Jamie would look like for Halloween, this is what I came up with, and you're probably going to die. The one thing that I could have pictured you as is either Elvira, she's going to kill me, Elvira, or a Rockette, or the other thing I thought of was what I did last year, which was a flapper. So those are the 3 things. So I was just curious to ask, would you do any of those, or are you going to dress up, and if so, what are you going to look like?
Oh, gosh. Every year I get invited. It's a big festivity in our neighborhood and in our family. So last year I went as 3 different characters. But in the past I've gone as dressed in all black and put stamps around me and went as blackmail. I've gone as a tropical holiday where I've just been in a slip and put a lei around me and carried a whiskey bottle. And everyone was like, what are you? It's like a tropical holiday. I've gone as Wonder Woman, and I've gone as a character in the Game of Thrones, Khaleesi. So I think
neat.
Every year it's just different of the theme of going to do. I love that shop in Los Angeles called Trashy Lingerie. They have the best Halloween costumes, and I love shopping there. And every year I go in and they're just really lovely. I've gone from being a green, beautiful, glittering mermaid to, a black leather sleek, policewoman. So it just depends on sort of
funny.
What I'm going to do. My son is going as a ninja, so I got to think how I can, complement that. So I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to go as yet, but I definitely need to get on it. We are decorating the house tonight for Halloween, so that'll be fun.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I just did that, as a matter of fact. So it is. It's really super neat, and we're big on Halloween as far as that goes and stuff, too. Okay, I'm going to go through the rundown, so you just listen in and as I tell everybody. Jamie, of course, is on Facebook. She has a personal page, and I'll spell her name because it's not the traditional. Jamie is Jamee, and her last name is spelled Natella. So 3 different ways on Facebook, her personal page, also the production Blueyed Pictures, and an actual production, or I should say producer page with the same name, Jamee Natella. The website is blueyedpictures.com. She can also be found, her IMDb has a profile, Vimeo.com. On Twitter, she's at Blueyed Pictures, and then 2 Instagrams, which is Blueyed Pictures and, of course, herself, Jamie, Jamee, and that's Natella. Any other place where people can find you or see other things, etc.?
No, that's pretty much it. I guess Google. Somebody just recently said, have you ever Googled your name? I said, I have, but not for a long time. And, I put Google in, and there was my name, Jamee Natella, all over the place. So that was kind of nice to know that
it is.
I do have a
you
little
are
bit
all
of
over
presence,
the place.
but it's also kind of scary because for being a private person, I'm not so private anymore.
That just cracks me up. We have that in common, actually, because I do not like being on the red carpet and having my picture taken, and yet here I am in all these forums where it's almost a necessity, so it's really cool. Now, before I forget, this is the part where I get to tell you what I think of you, and you should be nervous. Some people laugh, some people cry. It depends on how you take the reaction. So before I tell you what I think of you, I have to ask this question, because I'm coming to LA the 26th. Yeah, I think late on the 26th I'll get to L.A. So because I don't get to L.A. very much and you're there, I'm curious, what's a go-to place, like a must-see while I am there? I'm just curious because there is an actor who asked me on a date. I'm not going to give any names. I'm considering it. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should show up in his town and be impressive.
Are you into tell me what you're into.
3 things. Anything. I'm sorry. I like well, I like the drive-in, but I'm sure LA doesn't have one of those. I like anything old school, like if Marilyn Monroe would have gone there, or like black and white vintage. I like, I don't like, like if I was in New York, I only go to Sardi's once or twice a year. I'm not that kind of girl. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't need to be at high-end necessarily, and it doesn't have to be a touristy sort of place.
Well,
you know what I mean? I kind of like a hole in the wall.
I like here. Because I don't know you so well, I will tell you my staples here is that Los Angeles is great for views. So I like hiking a lot. There's a lot of great hiking trails during the day. And
nice.
We do have beautiful oceans along the Pacific Ocean. So beautiful views like sunsets.
Right.
We have a lot of great restaurants as well. So I like Manhattan Beach, Newport Beach, kind of walking around that area. And I like going on hikes. I would definitely say Soho House because in West Hollywood because they have the most beautiful view. And there's you're coming around Halloween, so I would definitely do the haunted hayride in Griffith Park and get that experience. And also there's a lot of good haunted houses in the Valley side, like in Calabasas area. So I would definitely get into. We're definitely a good state to create a lot of ambience around holidays, and Halloween is definitely a fun one here.
Nice.
So And
Very
if
cool.
you are in town and you're here on the 29th, you are more than welcome to come to our Halloween block party that we have every year.
Oh, my gosh, actually, that would be awesome because, well, that's the day I'm the panelist. I am the panelist at the festival. I think it's the 29th or 30th. I'll double check. But we'll stay in touch, and I can let you know as far as that goes. So I'll keep you posted as far as to what I'm going to do and such. So I want to tell you, Jamie, and everybody else in the listening audience what my impressions are of you. And I typically do this so that the audience gets a sense of who you are besides just the person or the accolades that I've found on a piece of paper and read off and we've talked about. So here goes. Jamie was probably one of the nicest people to approach when I first met her. I actually met her through a publicist, which sometimes happens, and it facilitates my job a lot easier because I get to find the most extraordinary people without even looking. And I was pleasantly surprised when I discovered who Jamie really was. First, when I started off, I have to tell you I was extremely intimidated by you. That doesn't happen for me very often anymore because I've been doing this a long time and I've established myself. When I find myself a woman who accelerates in beauty and in brains and in business, it's a three-way powerhouse to me, which is so impressive that I can't even begin to describe it. The fact that you live in LA, we'll overlook that. As I said, we're all kind of flaky in our own little way. It's a little hard. I'm getting used to the LA scene. What I find interesting is that you've developed yourself in a community of creatives where everybody seems to be kind of doing the same thing, but not kind of doing the same thing, if that makes sense. And I mean that in the most loving way. I find you to be extremely intelligent in every aspect of your life. You know what you want out of your love life. You know what you want for your child. You know what you want for your future. You know what you want for your books, your productions, your film. Everything that you touch, everything that you put has an element of yourself with a full knowledge and understanding of where you're going to take it from step one all the way to the end. I find that very impressive. You have drive. You have desire. You have a deep meaning in every single project that you've taken on. It accelerates when it comes to quality. Everything that I've ever watched or I've ever seen you produce carries this charisma about it. And in today's society, it's very difficult to sell a product, a piece, or any sort of partnering whatsoever without having a top-notch staff. I have no doubt whatsoever that everything you put your hands to is as good as gold. And why? Because you're very earnest from the inside to the outside. Again, another admirable quality. I love the fact that you're very grounded and that you know who you are. I know that you know where you're going to be a year from now. I consider myself lucky to have people like yourself on my show because today you have learned, or I've taught, if I could speak right, I've taught the fundamentals of what it means to produce a good product in areas and realms that I've never touched before. That means if you've educated me, you've educated my audience and my fans and my followers. For that, I say thank you so much. You motivated me to want to do something that I haven't looked at doing before. So again, thank you for that. And I will thank you and give you one of my children if you get me Mr. Madsen. I'm kidding, you can't have one of my kids. But I'll be eternally grateful. And I do hope when I get to LA that I get a chance to see your beautiful face. So for one, you can autograph the copy of Heroic Magazine that I have to track down somewhere. But more importantly, that I can look at this beautiful person and be able to say to her, you are a limo in a long, long line of limos that I'm very lucky to know, to work with, and associate with. So thank you so much.
Oh, Sin, thank you. That was so
you're
kind.
welcome.
Oh, my God, I'm
That's
just
so
filled
honest.
with gratitude. Thank you so much.
Well, you come to my show, you tell me you're a fan, so I have to be able to deliver. I have to be able to know my stuff. And most importantly, if somebody walks away today and decides, I want to produce something, or I want to be like that girl, I want to get on the cover of a magazine, that's what my show is about, to introduce people to other people who get things done, who can be a role model. And I think it's incredible that I'm really excited about this I Am Sam series. So I really do hope that you purge forth and get everything finished and done and all that good stuff, definitely. And just so that you know, so you can let people know, I will send you, when we are done, the link to your interview as soon as it's uploaded. It usually takes about 2 hours. People can go back and listen in at any given point in time as far as that goes. And the last thing I want to mention to you, because we'll stay in touch obviously after, and I'll let you know when I'm coming into town, etc. But most importantly, I'm giving consideration to adding extra people to my calendar that's coming out this year. So if you are interested, I don't know if any of your I Am Sams are done yet, but I could put a review of one of your books into the calendar if there's time.
I would absolutely really like that. I mean, I would dig
really?
that, and I
Is
know
that okay?
my son would get a really big kick out of that, too.
That's absolutely awesome. all about that. I have a son who actually did a comic book that's coming out this year, and so I know what it means to have children's work appreciated and knowing that something that means something to them is going to be in a much bigger forum. So definitely, we'll have to talk about that off air. I'll let you go and get back to your family and your work and all that good jazz and stuff like that, certainly, and keep me posted as far as filming because I am so down for coming to watch that whole Hallmark thing.
I'm going to send you information for the Halloween party that you can come to and enjoy, and it's a big festivity we have every year. And also, you know, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, and please, you know, I will definitely, you know, send a little bit of PR out on you as well. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And certainly, if there's, and certainly keep that in mind, and I tell this to people all the time, if you know actors or people that need exposure, etc., I mean, I am always welcoming new people to come on the show because we have a nice, good listening audience. I'd like to believe I did my homework sufficiently and that I do a good job for people, and that's important. So definitely.
You were fantastic. Thank you for making me feel comfortable and for having me on the show.
All right, you go have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you very soon.
Yes. Okay, bye, Sin.
Thanks, Sin. Okay, that was the beautiful talented Jamie Natella. So before I forget, we want to go through again. The website is blueyedpictures.com. Pages, her personal with her name. Here's again her name, and then again huge. So thank you so much to the listening audience because obviously without you, I have no one to talk to, and I know that today. Of course, you can't miss it because it says cross your fingers. Obviously, I'm off all weekend. My guess is I'll probably be writing my calendar. Or today, I'm so excited I get to meet one of my number one all-time fans, Jimmy, for the very first time. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you, as always, to Jimmy and everybody else for listening in. And, of course, my next show, again, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time on the 18th, Antonio Hall. And I will make sure that I post up her book information so that everybody can take a look at it. All right, folks, I'm off to go make my enjoy my afternoon. Thanks again for listening.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.